So by strategically partnering with Steward Partners, we were able to alleviate and offload all those things that we didn't love doing so we could focus on the things that we do love doing, which ends up with happier clients, happier families, and happier workers. And that's where you have to really evaluate, what are you trying to accomplish and how are you going to get there?
Welcome to this week's Spotlight on Investment Masterminds. My name is Jeff Thomas, host of Investment Masterminds and National Director of Advisor Advocacy for Swan Global Investments. Today, I'm honored to be joined by the ever-energetic Scott Danner. Thanks for coming on, Scott.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. I'm excited to bring my energy to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. In addition to being the founder and CEO of Freedom Street Advisors, he's a leader of advisory growth at Steward Partners. In addition, Scott was named one of the 2024 Best in State Advisors in Virginia. He's also a personal coach, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Freedom Street. And he also hosts the High Performance Life podcast, where he dives deep into the mindsets of top achievers. I've actually listened to a few of those episodes while I've been driving around in my day job in National Director of Advisor Advocacy. So I appreciate making my drive a little easier.
Well, I'm just glad you're listening. I mean, the fact that I think it resonates with high performers, with entrepreneurs, and it's really just a conversation. When I start the podcast, before we even hit record, I tell the guest, my goal is just to make this a conversation between two people, like we're riding in the front seat of a car, and everybody behind us is so interested they don't even want to interrupt. And and it's just to have a good time and to learn from each other, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and you've had some fantastic guests on, some great stories of overcoming adversity and the like. So I kind of want to start there, Scott, and talk a little bit about, number one, why? Why did you get into financial services in the first place? There's always some reason behind that. And also, maybe some of those hurdles and obstacles you had to overcome to get to where you are now.
Yeah, I went to school for criminal justice, and I was going to go and be in the FBI and do something in that world, and I always had envisioned that. And I went to work right out of college for the Attorney General's office, and I had a position that went with the appointees, and so I was technically in an appointed role where I would go in and out with the administration. And so when the Attorney General didn't win the gubernatorial race, I didn't have a job. And I interviewed for like 3 hours for what I thought would be the ability to keep my job. But what it really was me providing the job description for the next person to take over the role. And I found myself in a turning point in my early 20s where I was like, what am I going to be when I grow up? And, we find ourselves there lots of times in our careers, by the way. But yeah, we always do, right? I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But the point is, I had an aunt that was working as an assistant to an advisor in Arkansas for Edward Jones. And she said to me, Scott, all I know is you would be so good at this. And I see all these trainees come in all the time, and I just know you're better at so many things than what I'm seeing. And I think you should try it. And so I did. I put in an application. I got accepted. And I looked at it like, hey, if I have to start over in a career and build it, at least I'll learn how to manage my finances. At least I'll learn how to build a business. These are all traits and things that I felt really excited about. And fast forward, it was an absolutely perfect connectivity for me, a career that I really took off in. I really enjoyed my start of being an entrepreneur and being able to kind of build it on my own, even if I was knocking on doors and cold calling. It wasn't the easiest way to start a business, but it built the resilience and connectivity to the rest of the parts of my career that I'm really grateful for.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Scott. I think that getting started, knocking on doors, cold calling, those type of things, it's interesting because, within your role at Steward Partners, you probably have some of that mentality back with bringing on new growth and advisors to the practice, right?
Yeah, I think to some extent, I changed a mindset early in my career where I went from telling and selling to attracting. And this is a key differentiator, I think, in every business and every practice. And if I work on the things I can control, building my expertise, building my background, building the best solution-driven opportunity for who I'm serving, I'm going to be attracting more people. If I have to go out and tell everyone how good I am at doing something, it's kind of a turnoff, and it requires a lot more work. And so in the beginning, I always had the attracted model, but it wasn't working as well when you're brand new. You've got to get out and kind of tell the story a little bit. Today, my goal is to leverage what I've learned in that experience and to develop that attracting model. So I'm marketing versus selling, and building the foundational storylines that make it easy to refer and other people to understand how good it is so that we can make a difference in their life, just like we did their friends or coworkers.
So with when you founded Freedom Street, and then you merged with Steward, and now your role is to look for other Freedom Street type firms, right? Is that basically what you're doing?
Yeah, when I started in the business, I spent 15 years at Edward Jones building the independent model and really developing my practice. I took that practice and seeded it to build the enterprise, which is Freedom Street Partners. The enterprise was founded on M&A. Our goal was the industry average of an advisor's age today is 62 years old. The producing advisors, not, newer people that are coming up and learning the business. I'm talking about our producers are 60, 62 years old. So here's what I saw. I saw the trend being that we were going to have the largest transfer of wealth in our industry ever. And I wanted to get good at understanding what the solutions could be that would help with that transition. So we built a model at Freedom Street under our company and an enterprise in and around that model. And so when we sold to Steward Partners and we had a full acquisition, we in 2023 we brought our model to Steward Partners. So Freedom Street essentially is the practice now. The company is gone, but the Freedom Street practice still exists to serve clients, and it's Freedom Street at Steward Partners. But the business model, the flywheel of mergers and acquisitions is alive and well, and it's now what we call the legacy division of Steward Partners. We wanted to name it something other than just M&A, because M&A is transaction driven and we are relationship driven. And so we built the model, we seeded that model, and then we developed it here at Steward with the infrastructure Steward already had in place. It was absolutely perfect symmetry and collaboration, and now we're building and developing something even greater.
That's excellent. So if you're a financial advisor out there right now listening to this webcast, what would you say would be the ideal candidate for what you're looking for through Food Partners?
So what's really interesting about Steward Partners is Steward built their platform with the wirehouse breakaway advisors. So they're absolute specialists of, breakaways that want to have independence, supported independence, right? What's beautiful and interesting about what Steward has done is today, because of our M&A platform, along with the platform that they built, the traditional channel they built over the last 11 years, we have an attractive model to breakaway advisors that want to affiliate or sell their practice and stay, or sell their practice and exit. All three of those exist, but we're also really interesting to RIAs. So we're attracting, I use that word again, attracting a ton of RIA teams that have gone from 1 million to 2 million in production, 2 million to 4 million, and 4 million to 8 million. And now they find themselves in that 4 to 8 million range of revenue. And they're saying, man, I'm now doing all the HR. I'm doing all the back office, all the compliance, all the billing. And it becomes really tedious. So what I love about our model and what's making it very easy to attract is we're attracting breakaway advisors who want to sell and stay, or sell and exit, and want an effective and efficient transition so they retain their business. But we're also attracting these larger scale RIAs who are looking for infrastructure because they have the business model that already works, but put underneath our infrastructure and that foundation, it can explode that strategic partnership and the growth trajectory. So it's really, we have an attractive model to most advisors that I would say are at the middle to end of their career, not so much the beginning. We're building the next gen model now, and my team is responsible for that. But the beginning, it's nice to get experience and build the practice. Our average advisor here at Steward today, under the previous traditional channel, is about 1.2, 1.5 million in production, and has 100 million or more in management. So they tend to be a more mature advisor. And so that's where our infrastructure really pays off. And then we can enhance their marketing. We can enhance all the things that they're struggling to do, and develop a really great strategic partnership.
Yeah, I was at a conference a few weeks ago, or it was probably a couple of months ago now, and Michael Kitces was speaking and talking about the happiness scale as firms grow and they start to feel great because they keep on growing and bringing on more team members and hiring more staff, but then they have more resources that they have to put out and more time they have to put in the business. And that process just kind of goes over and over again until you get to this stalemate where you're not growing it anymore, but you're no longer happy. So it sounds like this could bridge that happiness gap for those advisory practices that are kind of stuck in that gap.
Yeah, the more we focus on our unique ability. So I'm very good at building and developing teams and culture, and that's something I love to do. Well, that becomes very challenging when you're doing 20 to 30 performance reviews because you care about every single person that's working for you. But how much time are you able to spend with the clients you enjoyed spending time with? How much time are you able to spend building the culture of the entire entity versus dealing with the back office? So by strategically partnering with Steward Partners, we were able to alleviate and offload all those things that we didn't love doing so we could focus on the things that we do love doing, which ends up with happier clients, happier families, and happier workers. Just like we do with our clients, when you sit down and it's where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there? I don't think enough advisors spend enough time thinking of the next or last chapter of their business. And we help them solve all those challenges.
Yeah, it's like that Talking Head song where he's like, "How did I get here? This is not
Yeah.
my house. This is not my business. How did I get here? I'm not even talking to clients anymore." So before I let you go, I do want you to talk a little bit about the podcast. You've had some fantastic guests on there. It's a great flowing podcast. Love to listen to it. Very easy to listen to for those in the audience. Can you tell us a little bit about why you created the podcast in the first place? And can you talk about maybe one of the recent episodes and a guest that you have that had a great session with?
Yeah, so the podcast is a really a passion project for me. I absolutely love it. We've been doing it. We're 100 and I don't know 30 episodes or more in. The high performance life. Life is an acronym. I've used this as my approach to life. Love is the first letter of life. It's love. It's the who's in our life that matter most. Impact is what we do every day beyond our day job. Faith is something bigger than ourselves, something that puts the ego to the side and allows you to have a why that's bigger than you. And energy is how we show up to the world, a healthy mind, a healthy body, healthy spirit. What I found is when you're successful at anything, you tend to be imbalanced. And we always are seeking balance, but we often struggle to find it. Most people never find it. And it's okay. If you're doing anything great, you're probably imbalanced, and that's fine. But awareness is crucial. So if I'm aware of the who's in my life that matter most, if I'm aware of the impact I'm trying to make, if I'm aware of the why I'm doing it for, and the energy of which I'm showing up for, I have the ability to better run my life and be imbalanced, but to be aware when I get too imbalanced to dial it back or dial it forward in certain areas. All those areas. Who do you love? What are you impacting? What is your faith? We've had some conversations on belief and faith, and then energy, a lot around energy and relationships. How do you show up for the people you love the most? So the podcast is a great listen. It's the High Performance Life with Scott Danner, and it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we're on it. And I think it's growing pretty fast. We're pretty excited to be able to share the story, and I'm grateful you asked about it, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I really enjoy it. I'm a fan, and I appreciate everything you're doing, both on the side for financial advisors, but also for the holistic lifestyle that you're talking about. I got a lot of good points, and being a dad with a couple of young kids, I always take something away from it. And especially with some of the guests, you start to think like, wow, I really have so many valuable things in my life. And you've had these guests on that have had just such trials and tribulations and overcome them and just are so amazing in so many different ways. So just love the work you're doing. Well, Scott Danner, founder of Freedom Street and advocate for Steward Partners. Thanks for coming on today. Thanks for talking about the podcast, as well as we'll definitely put the link for the podcast as well as the link for the book as well through Amazon. Congratulations on being an Amazon bestseller as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Jeff, for having me.